Hello, Melissa. How you doing? Let me go ahead and take a look at your work. Struggling with colors and shapes, and it's interesting because that's what this is all about. It's about color and shape, and that's it. That's all we need to do to establish these avatars is get a good command of color and shape. I think it's a really a good start. I do. I think Jennifer's looking really great. It seems like this one is the most developed. And these two I'll be honest with you, they just don't look like they're done. I think the technique you're establishing is fabulous. Really fantastic job. We can see that you're really showing a nice restraint in some of the areas where you're depicting shadows. And that's great. That's probably the hardest part of this assignment is really deciphering what, let me show you an example of what to use and what to include in the shadow and highlight area. And it's kind of general rule of thumb is to try the biggest parts of the face are probably you're probably not going to want to add a whole lot of shadow and highlight there because it just ends up looking like face paint. We can see it here, we can see it here, here, here. So much more restraint over here where the largest areas of the face are the flattest areas of the face. And I think that's a great general rule of thumb to keep in mind. Okay, the largest areas of the face don't depict these. So in other words, there's no big highlight right there, right? It's just depicted with a little tiny highlight up more towards the side of the face. The shadows, the shadow areas are all relegated to the sides of the face and up near the characteristics of the mouth, nose, and eyes. Okay, so we're not seeing shadows in the middle of the face. So you see what I'm saying? And I think that like this, for example, that's a shadow right there. That just wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? It looks like face paint. So these are good depictions of shadows right here. I think right now there's a little bit too much variation between the shadow and the skin tone. So you want to reduce that a little bit so it looks a little more natural. The skin tone here has got a green overcast to it. I think one of the important things here is to decide on the skin tone and stick with it through the series. And that's one thing that's one of the neat things about this assignment is how students decide and how they elect to create consistency in the skin tones. And that's all part of developing your own style. So we've got this technique, this flat avatar technique, where we show you several different ways to approach it, but then you're ultimately tasked with developing your own style. And I think that you're doing that. I don't think it's all the way there yet, but you're definitely doing it. Listen, Melissa, I'm going to go ahead and say all these need are a little bit more work, some time. Just sit down, get yourself a cup of coffee, and clear your slate for a couple hours and just really pump these out because the heavy lifting is done. I think right now it's just a matter of finesse. So what we're going to have to do at this point really is really start developing the hair highlights and just really push this home in terms of finalizing. And that's all I'm seeing. I mean, the technique is there. It's there. So in your writing, you're saying, anyone has any suggestions? I mean, I don't have suggestions. I think that you're doing a great job. My suggestions are just to really finish the highlights in the hair, finish up the highlights in the face, make sure the noses are established and the mouths are established. Make sure the eyes I think are really done very well in all four. This one is probably the least developed in all four. These eyes look fantastic. Facial structures look fantastic. I mean, you're there. You're this close. You're this close. I mean, this is going to be a great project. So, that said, what I would recommend that you do at this point, excuse me, sorry about that. At this point, we want to get those templates in place. Where are they? Right here. This is the template file. It looks like this. Got the clipping mask. So you'll place your image in there and you'll activate the clipping mask. That's all covered in this video right here, by the way. This how to use postage stamp template file. Take a look at that. There's the postage stamp template file right there. You can download that and use it. That's this guy right here. Watch my cursor there, right there. There's the clipping mask. And you can see in the layers, let me go to window layers and get those layers open up so you can see that in the layers, we've got your artwork layer goes on that layer. Then here's your clipping mask. And then there's your layer one. So be sure to take a look at that video. It's really self-descriptive. I mean, self-explanatory. This video really does a good job describing how to effectively use that template. Okay, so those are my recommendations. And again, I don't have any solid do this, do that, do this, do that. My recommendation to you is just to keep doing what you're doing. Just push these to a higher degree of completion, and I think you're going to be just fine. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.